Welcome. Today we will be talking about um, drilling and filtering. So the topics for today are basic drilling, the navigational area. We'll take a look at that, how that can help you with your drilling efforts. We'll also talk about the filtering options, some basic filtering. We'll also demo some of that, and we'll get into some more advanced filtering options, and also some new filtering features with the latest version of 7.5. We'll take a look at that today. So the Stratum Data Hub, as we all know, will be concentrating today on the user interface side of things. So web-based analysis. So we're looking at, oops, do I want to do that? We're looking at the access side of the Data Hub, and we'll be primarily focusing on the Stratum the web interface. For drilling and views, the navigational area, if you're on a fairly recent version of the product, you'll see this highlighted area within your view, and that will aid you in your navigational efforts when you drill. This will actually provide a breadcrumb trail, if you will, back to where you started the drill down. It'll also let you know where you are currently within the drill down. So as you navigate, the levels will illuminate, telling you that you've drilled to that level. Here we can see the Sol 2 level being illuminated in blue, and then we can also see that it's also available within the data grid. So as we drill to product class, product family, those levels will then turn blue as well. So different things you can do, obviously drill down on a specific member, like you'll pick a specific customer. You can also drill on the header if you want to drill on all customers, and then go to product class. And what that'll do is it'll subtotal out the results for you. So you can either drill on one specific member, or you can drill on multiple members depending on the situation. And I'll show you in the demo how you can manipulate that. Drilling back, it's pretty simple. You just click back on the level that you drilled in on. If you want to go all the way back, in this example, we would just simply click on the customer Sol 2 level, and it would take us back, presuming that we've drilled down. You can also use the View Explorer. We'll take a look at that in the demo. You can use that to manipulate, similar to the navigational area. You can manipulate the order of your drill down. You can add more levels. And you can do that here as well within the navigational pane. Okay, so we'll take a look at that in the demo, of course. Navigation and views. Again, this is the navigational area. It's that breadcrumb model that I just explained to you. You can manipulate it, and you can obviously rearrange it. You can add more to it. You can take things away from it. So I do love the navigational area. It makes things real simple in terms of navigating the view, and then also manipulating the levels within your view. Other navigational tips: did you know that you can drill to another view? So that's a feature. It's pretty simple to set up. Here we have an example of a view where I have time range. I've got multiple months within my columns here. And I could then make that drillable, and I can take the user to a view that has the same data in it, except it'll show me each period within that time range. And it gives me more of a periodic look at the data. Or you could take them to another view that contains more pricing information. We could see there's some discounting going on. You could take them to another view that provides the cost breakdown that gives them that gross margin. So there's different things that you can add in here or drill to another view, so that you could actually get more data to your user's fingertips without bombarding them initially, with the initial view. So in this example here, we're simply letting the user, if they want to, drill to the view to see the periodic breakdown of, depending on which one they click on. As you can see, it would filter on the specific customer that you would select, or that row that you would select to drill to. So that's a drill to view. I don't know if you knew that existed, and I'll show you where you can turn that on. But that's something that's available. So now we're going to talk a little bit, switching gears from drilling to filtering. Here we can see that you can right click on any hierarchy within your view to apply a filter, which would be one way to do that. We can see here that we've got a filter down here, or at least we're trying to apply one by right clicking on company and selecting filter edit. So on the right click, you'll right click on that level name, and it will then just show you a right click menu in which then you could select your filter edit option. And when you do that here at the company level, it's real simple. I've only got 2 companies, or divisions, I should say. And then I could select, in this case, I've selected food service as my filter, so that when I click OK, the view then returns the food service data only. So that's a basic filter. That's a real simple filter. There are advanced filters where you can search for things and add them to your filter list. We'll take a look at that in the demo. Here we have the filter manager, where I can come in and click on that, and then I can see a bird's eye view of any filters that are on my levels, any filters that are in my data columns, my measures, or if there are any filters on my axes. And the axes filter is more of advanced filtering options that allow you to incorporate and or Boolean type logic into your filter criteria. So it's there's some tips on that within the online help documentation. Here we can see that the filter that I applied to the grocery division is showing that, and indeed we have a filter on that particular level. Also notice that I can change the filter from include to exclude. So we've got a little pull down button there that I can click on, and I can change that from the default of include to exclude. So maybe I want to exclude something from a given view or report and see what the inverse of that might be in terms of excluding that specific member. There might be specific customers or products that you want to exclude from a view, and you can use this filter feature to accomplish that now. So you have now an include and an exclude option there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the demo, but before we do that, you can see my name, my email address there. You can even call me as if it was pre-pandemic. There's also information that you can get from Sylvan. There's our website. There's our customer extranet site, which I strongly encourage you check out. That's got a knowledge base on it that's been completely revamped. And it's got a lot of really good organized information out there now for you. And there's our YouTube channel. This is where this video will end up later in the day, or maybe early next week. We also have a running archive of all the other Insight videos that we have there on our YouTube channel. So make sure you go out there and subscribe, please. All right, let's take a look at the demo. We wanted to go through some of these drilling scenarios and take a look at some of the filtering, and certainly take a look at some of the new filtering options that are available within the new version. So now I'm actually running the latest and greatest version 7.5. We'll have a Insight Meet class coming up on that. We can see on the homepage on June the 22nd. So that's actually the next Insight class coming up later on in June. And we'll be taking a deeper dive into this version, Stratum 7.5. I'll give you a sneak peek view of the filtering enhancements that we did, because obviously we're looking at filtering today, and that kind of is a relevant topic. So we'll take a look at the new filtering options that are available with 7.5. All right, well, first things first, let's run a view. I'm going to go ahead and run a view here for sales analysis, and we can see that the view then starts out at the product brand level. And obviously it's within my data grid, but up here we can also see in my navigational pane, it's showing me that product brand all. Basically, there's no filtering going on. And I can see that the filter icon is not illuminated. It obviously illuminates as I hover over it, but certainly I can click in on that and see that there's really nothing filtered right now. Okay, so all this is basically company wide. If I wanted to maybe start at company level, I can then drag and drop company and make it my first level. So as you can see, I can then play around with the ordering of the drill down. Maybe I wanted to go to division next, and then on to product, brand, and product. Might make more sense. I'm going to drill in. So now I'm going to do a drill down on the company level. We can see that overall we got 24% growth sales this year versus last. Pretty good. Where is that happening? Well, let's take a look at the divisional level. I simply click in on the 100, which is the company number, and that takes me to the division. We can see that the data then spreads across both of the divisions. We can also see that the amount here for grocery division is obviously much bigger. So that's driving the revenue here of the company. And we can see that both divisions are growing actually pretty evenly. So drilling, as you can see, if I wanted to then continue down this path and click on the G for grocery division, we can then see all the product brands for the grocery division. Now, as I see the things that I selected up here in my navigational pane, it keeps a breadcrumb trail, as we talked about in the presentation, of what I've done, right? So now I know what the data represents, not only from the data grid, but also from the navigational pane up here telling me what exactly I'm looking at. Now, as I drill back, so if I want to do a drill back, maybe I want to go back to division level. How would I do that? I can simply click on either the G or the division, doesn't really matter at this point. And that will take me back, given the fact that I was already drilled forward, that takes me back to the divisional level in which then I can select food service. And that shows me the food service division data. If I go back to food service, what happens if I click on the header? That's going to actually drill on both of these divisions. It's going to show me a breakout by product brand of the two divisions with a subtotal. So it does all that automatically for you. That's nice. And yeah, that's basically what drilling on the header does. And I could do that. I can make this report. Maybe I want to drag and drop sold to over here instead of product brand. And now I've got a sold to report based on division and customer sold to. So as you can see, it's taking longer to do that calculation because there's multiple sold tos in my division. So as you can see, care has to be taken when you do some of these things because they could take a while to render. In this case, it's grinding now to show me the sold to breakout for the division. That does seem to be taking a little longer, and there it is. Let's try that again. I don't think that, yeah, that should not have taken as long. I'll have to take another look. This is a new version, by the way, so this is not released to the customer. So I'll have to take another look as to why that should not have taken as long. Now, if you do this from customer sold to item or to invoice level, God forbid, that would be something that you'd probably want to stay away from. But from division to sold to, that really shouldn't be a problem. And again, that it only retrieved 29 rows, so that seemed to be a glitch. But nevertheless, as you can see, you can drill on the header. It then drills on both the divisions in this particular instance. Now let's take a look at all customers, because that'll give us a little more rows of 27 rows of data. Maybe I want to filter and so now we'll take a look at filtering and how we can filter out or filter in certain customers that we want to focus on. For instance, Wilder Foods. Maybe you want to right click sold to, select filter edit, and now it brings up our basic filtering menu option, in which then we can come up here, and if we look for Wilder, we can then go out and search for Wilder based on the long description. Then we can select both Wilder food divisions and then have that available to us as a filter. That is a static filter, and as you can see, it brought back both Wilder Foods. Now I can drill in. Maybe I want to see Wilder by product brand. I can drill in on both Wilder Foods. So now I'm drilling in on two customers instead of just selecting one. So as you can see, filtering and drilling go hand in hand. they will allow you to drill on multiple members of Sol2 in this instance. Maybe if I added additional members to this, maybe I want to see Sumter as well. So now I've got both a breakout for Wilder and both of the Sumter divisions, but also with Wilder as well. So now I'm drilling in on 4 customers instead of 2. See how that works? So here I can then drill back, and then this shows me, as you can see with the filter illuminated, I can hover over that and it shows me, obviously the filters that I selected here. If I go to my view or my filter manager, let's go into that. We can see that the Sol2 filter has been illuminated. It tells me obviously that we've basically the same thing. These are the Sol2s that we've selected for our filter. What happens if we exclude these customers? What's going to bring back every customer except those given accounts that we selected? Now it's telling me that excluding those accounts that we've selected. So that's the power of the exclusion option now, is this ability to then either include as a default, which is part of the default, or exclude. It's up to you to decide what you want to do there, but now you have that option. So that's one way to filter out. Now, if I wanted to do more advanced filtering, for instance, if I go back into filter edit here, notice this little more button, and it allows me to do an advanced select. So here we can see that I've got 4 customers here selected, and then now I want to go ahead and maybe search for other customers based on the word good. So now I've got 2 other customers here that I want to add to my selected filtered list. So this is more of an advanced way of looking for things, so that you're not, obviously looking at all the customers are not being thrown at the user. It's more of an organized way of looking for things and then selecting them down into your filtered list. And again, that's a part of the more button, is to being able to do that, filter and go into these filter options. As you can see, there's other ways I can get data into my filter. I can actually click and paste in customer numbers as well from maybe an Excel spreadsheet. So make sure you check out the online documentation. There's a lot of different ways that you can get data in and build your filters. Okay, so now I've actually added in the good foods accounts by using the advanced filtered option there. And again, I can drill in on all 6 of those accounts now by clicking in on the header. Okay, so that's part of the ability to drill the filter on dimension levels. I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. I'm going to right click and do a clear. And now I've got all my filters are gone. What's another way I can do to filter? And this is the new way that we've just added, is filtering on the description. So I can right click on description, do a filter edit, and I get a different menu, don't I? Instead of selecting the customers and looking for customer numbers or customers based on their numeric column, now I'm actually looking at their long description column, and I'm going to do a contains, do the same thing, Wilder, anything that contains Wilder in it. It's the same thing, isn't it? Well, it's the same thing in the sense that if I have another division, maybe Wilder opens up another division, maybe a Canadian division or something along those lines, and we start selling to them. As long as the word Wilder is in the description, it'll then get returned to the view. So it's almost like a dynamic filter. It may be what you want, it may not be what you want. So you can also, further clarify it, and then while in it, maybe you have another customer with the word Wilder, by any chance, that might come in. And if it's not specifically Wilder Foods, then obviously that'll get kicked out. I see we have a question. Oh, the exclude toggle would be up here. So here we got the contains Wilder Foods, and then we can exclude that. So if we want to exclude anything with Wilder in it, then we can do the exclusion on that. That should do that. I'll have to report that, but that should work. I'll see if that's truly supposed to work, but this is a new, again, this is a new build. So I'm glad we're actually doing some of these things. You could do, again, it depends on if you, obviously we saw that work over here. I think that that works there. It should work because obviously they're letting us go in and do that. It may not, we may not have that feature here because there's no pull down for the, for that. So I'll double check that, but I don't think, I think that feature is only available for the actual member column. That would be my answer. And I guarantee you that's probably what it is. Yep, you betcha. Yeah, so notice that, you know, obviously the only pull down available is when you do the filter just for the sold to number. Yeah, that's a pretty safe presumption to make there. Okay, nevertheless, you can come in here and, you know, perhaps I had other things, other attributes available. So let me clear this out. So now we're back, you know, to square one. We got all of our customers. Let me add in, actually, let's do this at products because it might be even better at product level. So again, I could play the same game here with product. I'm going to add an attribute, like for instance, a list price. Okay, so now we've got some numbers in the mix, right? And before you weren't, you know, if I wanted to filter or sort on this, you might run into some problems here. So here we can see that I can actually filter on this, and it'll treat it as a numeric field, as opposed to before you might run into some problems with that. So let's do like 50, anything greater than 50 on this field. Yeah, so that seems to be working. Yeah. So that was not available before. Before you had to do some, interestingly enough, you had to build a customized measure. It got pretty technical pretty quickly. Here we can see that I've got a filter with a greater than 50 on that, and we can see that it treats it automatically as a number. So, and in all honesty, it's not. It's actually a string. So our developers have obviously bolstered the interface to override some of that, so to make the user experience much easier. So again, this attribute relationship filtering is brand spanking new. And again, if I go in here, we can see that indeed, you know, it adds that attribute into the menu, and then it shows me that, you know, obviously the filter that I applied here. Again, no exclude feature there. Only that would only apply to the member list filter. So that's brand new. That's something that we feel will really make things easier for users, especially if you're using a fair amount of attribute data. And yeah, I mean, that's something that was never there before. So filtering on products, filtering on attributes as well. Filtering on measures. So for instance, maybe I want to see over here in my year-to-date column, I can right click and filter on my measure. So in this case, oops, I clicked one a little bit too far. So I'll do that again, sorry. Right clicking here on my year-to-date header, I'm going to filter edit. Same thing, right? Except it gives me this menu. And now I can filter on my measure. So here I've got sales amount year-to-date that I'm doing a filter on. And maybe I want to do a quick top 10 count. So these are my top 10 products, company-wide. Here I can see the filter. Top 10 count, of course. Here, up here, I can see the filter. I would have to go to my data tab. And here we can see the top 10. Again, there is no exclude feature there. And then we can see that the top 10 count has been applied here. And I can manage that here if I wanted to change it. Maybe I just want to see top 5. So now I've actually changed that within the filter manager. And yes, you can do that. Another thing I can do here is I can add in, by opening up my View Explorer, I can come to the properties of my product dimension, and I can add a and all other calculation here. So now I've got not only my top 5 products, but I've got an all other break here for the products that didn't meet the top 5 criteria, right? And that's only going to do it at product level, right? For instance, if I drill now from frozen lasagna to customer sold to, it's only going to show me the top 5 accounts that fit that criteria, because that filter stays true. Okay, so I'll drill back, and so yeah, so basically that's a top count. I could do a top percent, like what's the top 25% of my business. It's going to add in a few more items there that will show me the top 25% of my biz from a product perspective. I can also do bottom percents, bottom counts. So all kinds of things that I can do there that allow me to get more of a top 5 scenario. I can also see sales over a certain amount. Maybe I want to see sales over 5 million. So there's some things that you can do there to really kind of add a threshold. As I hover over that, it's showing me that it's just showing me data, and I'll sort this in ascending fashion, and indeed, it's only giving me the 5 million. And I still get that all others breakdown here on the bottom. So when you filter on a level, you can filter on a data item, as you can see, and really kind of get what you need out of the view that you're filtering on. And again, I can clear that out at any given moment here. And then finally, the ability to drill to a view. I've got an example of that where we can go in and drill to another view. Actually, it's part of my customer. I just want to see if there's a different one that I could show. Here we can see if I want to drill to the Tip Top brand to another view. I've actually drilled that to the trended view. So this actually shows me a trend of the data, similar to our presentation. Maybe I want to see dewdrop. I click on dewdrops, and it drills me and filters on dewdrop, and it shows me their monthly breakdown of the data, along with a percent change and a percent of target as well. Maybe I want to see, first choice, 55 mil. And then I can see how that 55 mil is spread across the months. So it's a great way to take the user to another view. In this instance, we're taking them to another view, and we are showing, the data in monthly fashion, in a periodic monthly style, giving them easier access to a view, giving them more data points. So obviously we can see the seasonality of that specific product brand. We can see areas, months where they performed, where it peaks. Obviously in July, August, are good months for this particular brand. And obviously, that shows us a lot of information about seasonality and provides more information about forecasting and how we would plan to support that product moving forward from a sales and forecast perspective. Drilling and filtering. That's all I wanted to show today. If anyone has any further questions, don't forget to check out your online help. So when you come to 7.4 or 7.5, you can see that, we moved the help to the hamburger menu there. And I can go into my online help from here, and I can search for any given topics such as filters. And it will show me different things that I can go into to introduction to filtering. And that obviously goes right into stuff that we've been talking about. A lot of pictures, a lot of tutorials. So definitely want to check this out. Read through this. This will give you more information about filtering with a lot of detail. So don't forget to check out the online help.